Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Brandlive.co.za. Sangaris in the house, baby. At 27 Boxes in Melrose, and back on attack, talking all things fashion, talking all things business, because brands need to talk to one another like that. I thank everyone for joining us today. As you know, I do not fly alone. I've got my lovely and incredible wife with me, Vanya Mangaliso. What's up, baby?
Hi, Scarlett. Thank you so much. Good to be with you. And welcome to everyone joining us today on the Fashion Blueprint. Thank you for taking the time to connect.
Yes.
Exciting week.
No, very exciting week. As we all know, yesterday was Mr. Mandela's birthday. And
Day before, actually.
was the day before? 17th?
Yes.
18th, sorry man. Yeah, I've got my things. You know, the weeks go by so quickly. Everything just sort of blends into one another. But like we were saying, day before yesterday, it was Mr. Mandela's birthday, which was a very special birthday. It was celebrating 100 years of Mandela. I'm always amazed at just how you know, just what a deep impact and profound impact this man has had, not only in South Africa but all over the world. You know, every time we're going to have one of these celebrations, you think, you know, it'll come and go, but the whole world got involved. You know, even Mr. Barack Obama came through. There were celebrations not only in South Africa but all over the world, all the embassies, all the countries, everywhere you went, everyone was talking Mandela. Everyone was, you know, donating their 67 minutes, which was just outstanding. You know,
How amazing to see Obama in Joburg speaking to everyone in the youth, just inspiring people at a time when such strong leadership is so needed in the world.
yes, and also just the number of people that, you know, turned up. We tend to take these things for granted, but you know, the stadium was full. People were posting left, right and center. I wasn't there, but I was living vicariously through their Instagram and Facebook posts. Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, it was a great day. And you know, you think of the kind of work that the man has done. You think of the values he stood for. It is quite amazing how it's gratifying how you seeing so many Mandela reincarnates. It's really amazing. And we had an opportunity to go speak to the youth as part of the Mandela celebrations at South Africa Fashion College in town. And it's really a privilege to do this kind of work with those kind of people. You know, artists and designers are dreamers. These are people who believe. You know, people who create,
Want to change the world through their art and their designs.
yes, and yeah. So very interesting time just to connect with what the youth are thinking, as they shall inherit the earth.
Because in the end of the day, the world is in the hand of the youth, Shem. I'm way past my youth, by the way. But in the end of the day, the world is in the hand of the youth. I remember as a youth, you know, you've got the world ahead of you. You've got your education. You've got so much prospect. You know, this is one country where you can come in from nowhere and become something. And I think that, you know, that spirit of just having the possibilities around you and you being able to access them is just incredible.
Yeah, it was really inspirational. Just also for me personally, at that minute, those 67 minutes talking to the youth, also just to walk the journey, because you know, sometimes, you know, you get asked to speak to the youth and you always think, what can I share, what can I impact? And nothing beats, you know, starting in the beginning. So for us to walk the journey, how we started, why we started, it was really interesting. Even for us, you know, it's really part of the journey, part of the growth, just sharing the story. And one of the interesting things that, one of the things I suppose I'm grateful for, and we also share with the youth, is, you know, just what it means to have a brand. How, you know, with, you know, you can, if you know, knowing what a brand is, in a sense, it's a promise that if you're saying, I'm doing this is what you stick to, which is basically consistency. And it's one of those things that we've tried. But one of the questions that you often get asked is, how do you get there? How do you build the brand? How do you get your stuff out there? Because once you have a brand, you have something. Once you've built something with your heart and soul, you lose money, but if you've got a good brand and integrity, you can always recover certain things that money can't buy. But I suppose before you get there, how do you build a brand? This was one of the questions that people ask. How do you get your stuff out there?
Market access, market readiness.
That's market
Are
readiness.
you ready? What does it take to succeed? How do I get my stuff from my small back room at Togoza sewing beautiful stuff? How do I eventually get into
How do I let
Acres?
people just know I exist?
Yeah.
That's basically it. Before you can even build your, I suppose as a step to building your own ecosystem, how do you build a brand? And one of the interesting things, like nothing is about the world is that nothing ever changes. I remember when we started, we got a lot of a form of cheap marketing. You work with one form of cheap marketing is to get influencers. We worked with a lot of celebrities, but you obviously have to have something to offer. The relationship worked both ways in the sense that they needed a reliable, consistent
Source.
and I'd say beautiful wardrobe, and we needed somebody to wear the clothes and take the brand out there, and it worked perfectly. And fast forward so many years later, it's still the best way to get brands out there. The other day we were sitting in a presentation at the manufacturing indaba and a presentation on China, and the highest earning celebrity who earned I think $48 million last year is just a blogger.
Wow,
Who blogs,
a blogger.
Yeah, who blogged for
Not a football star.
She's now the ambassador for Neutrogena.
Wow.
And for just blogging, and that's really a form of influence.
It's the power of
So-
celebrity. I suppose in the East it's very real, huh?
Power of influence, yeah. And it's just one of those things that if you venture into those kind of markets, you gotta embrace the local culture, the fact that people believe. I think it also goes back to the thing, that old age business adage that there's nothing like the power of a personal referral. It's just on a bigger scale, on a globalized scale. Like if somebody can say, oh, I went there and I got a good service and the product is like excellent, it beats you putting an ad in the paper.
Right. So I think that the questions that they were asking are very universal. The question doesn't change. And
Principles haven't changed.
yeah. So if you are a young designer, I mean, what do they need to do? Because
Well, those are some of the cost-effective ways. I mean, you can, if you've got a big budget, great. You can do the ads, which is also nice. You can do your campaigns. You can pay for ad spend. But does it guarantee you results? Are you hitting the right? It's as somebody starting out, it's too high of an expensive exercise for you to make mistakes. Are you hitting the right target market? You can't just pick up a magazine and advertise. Whatever channel you choose to use, even the celebrity you choose, you've got to think about it. It has to be well thought out. It's not just about their popularity or your access to them. It's about the alignment. It has to be a collaboration.
right.
You have to be able to create magic together, and that's just one form. Then there's social media.
The value of social media. That's something that we need to talk about. Because you know, as much as there is social media, as much as there are low barriers to entry into social media, there's a lot of clutter. And the question now is, how do you be able to? How is a young designer able to make an impact on social media?
Well, the thing is, what's exciting about it is that it's free, so you can make mistakes as you go along, but obviously not to the detriment of the exercise you were trying to execute to begin with.
I think when you say mistakes, I think of the right way of targeting, the right way of communicating. Burning fingers. Not necessarily burning the bridge itself.
Sure, the nice thing is, think of the like in the past, if you wanted somebody in England to see a photo of a show that you did last night, what a struggle, or, what a loss, having to go through the channels you'd have to go through. But now you just put it on your post and people see it. You put a picture and you can get hit by somebody from Russia.
Yeah.
Anywhere in the world, basically. So it's and I don't think we have explored its power, potential, and reach. We can still do so much more. It's something that has turned everyone into a publisher. It's accessible to all of us. It almost literally levels the playing field. I mean, even with us in terms of advertising, we are exploring the possibilities and the options as we get ready to unleash our new website, our online website with e-commerce, and we gotta get it out there. And the nice thing about like your most people know this though, but just for those who don't or who are not convinced, like I wasn't for a while, not about the reach, but I didn't move to do social media advertising. So you can design how much you want to spend. It's really worth it. You get the returns, considering also how we sell through social media. A lot of our sales are through social media.
No, for sure. And also considering that a double spread in any glossy magazine is going to cost you 50,000. You can tailor make packages and at a much cheaper rate, much cheaper rate.
Sure, I think that's one way. Also today people have nothing beats talking to people direct. As a designer, invite people on your street, you have a little tea party, have a fashion show. You maybe have friends that can model, but obviously you need commitment. It has to be professional, no matter how small you are. You gotta start acting like the person that you want to become. You can't postpone.
I liked what you said actually, in terms of people were, obviously we've got designers from all over the country and everyone is trying to clamor and get into Johannesburg. And you said the first thing that you must do is become big in your town. Start with the ladies on your street.
Easier. It's not like you have to do it that way. It's not the only way to do it.
No, but it makes more sense.
It's you're in your comfort zone. You are with people who understand you, who support you, who've got your best interests at heart.
Resources are available.
It's cheaper.
Family is closer.
Family is closer than you trying to move to a different city where you have to have accommodation and all sorts of things. I mean, we can chat further about it. For now, let's take a break, a little breather, and see you on the other side.
All right, other side of this, we've got to pay bills. Catch you on the flip side.
In your face, all over the place. We're online 24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
Brand Live.
No doubt.
Brandlife.co.za is Thought Leadership Radio. It's a new way to communicate your brand, your value, and what you think about your industry. Be a leader.
You'll never stop at one. I'll take you all on.
Be your voice.
I have a dream.
And we will help you shape your industry. Our radio platform is for thought leaders who want to share insights, businesses who want to create value for their databases, organizations who want to control their message, for those that drive change. Make your brand come alive on brandlife.co.za, harnessing the power of talk radio.
All right, after having paid our bills, everything looks good now. So we're back and we are continuing with what we continued with. There was an interesting question that came up on Instagram.
Welcome back. Yes, a question from Aldina Manuel, who's asking, how do you protect your brand in terms of what are the steps to protect your creations? Well, there's two ways to it. There's one where you can protect, you register your trademarks of the brand, and then the other side is where you register the design itself, which is a much more complicated process. This was picking up on the topic of how do you get your brand out there, which we wanted to elaborate on. But we'd like to just quickly answer the question from Manuela about how to protect your brand. Firstly, you got to register the trademark. Registering it in your country doesn't mean it's protected globally. You gotta go and make sure that in every country that you intend doing business in, it is protected. But registering your trademark. But when it comes to a design, it is Also, when you're protecting your brand, the first thing that you protect is obviously the name. When you register a trademark, it's the name. And then you gotta take it. You can still take it a step further. Do you want to register your logo? Do you want to register the colors of the logo? You can be as detailed as you possibly can. Some people will even register the sound, the color, that nobody will use these kind of colors. So it becomes a very expensive process. And so you can imagine how how difficult it is now to go now and protect your what do you call it?
Your trademark.
To protect a design, because you got to go through that lengthy process of detail. It's really boils down to detail, that you got to prove that this is yours, nobody else can, and it's a long story. But
is the trick not speed to market when you're a small player?
Well, it is speed to market, but at the same time you want to register and protect yourself, and it's quite a big thing in a globalized world, and I think it's really worth exploring. And maybe we can actually invite an expert in IP to come and talk to us. I think that's what we'll do, Manuela, and if you can stay in touch, and we'll let you know.
I think that's a good idea, because
it's very topical.
Technical.
It's very topical. I think even at the Invest SA conference that we went to, they spent a lot of time, brought in an expert, because it is one of those things that is a challenge in a world where everyone is doing business together across borders, across continents.
And people get influenced. You think people don't either. I think half the copying that happens in the world is not intentional, but because we live in a globalized world,
and you see
and there are many influences.
You can't unsee it.
Once you see something, you can't unsee it.
That's true.
You know, you think of your Italian designers who just love the mystique of Africa, and how literally for years, they owned the leopard print. Nobody was doing leopard print at all, and I think it's about 6-7 years ago when people were like, no, hold on a second, we are South African and we must get into the leopard skin. And now it's a runaway success. But now who owns the trademark to the leopard skin print? That's another story altogether.
Well, something like that would be very difficult to patent and claim as yours. That's why it's so much more difficult when it comes to the actual designs, but it's not impossible. There are creations that are very easy to protect, and you can. But, that's why you gotta be really, you gotta have the right backing behind you, so you make the right decisions. Hi. Hi, Marcel, Minella. Thank you for joining in.
No, for sure. We're getting quite a hot response on
Yes.
our Instagram. Everyone is waving. Everyone is wishing us well. It's always wonderful to have support. You think you're doing these things in a silo. And once again, due to social media, we are able to reach out and be more effective in what we do.
Yes, and I think, thank you for that question, Manuela, because I think we should get an IP expert, because there must be a lot of other people who'd love to know how to navigate this territory of intellectual property as a designer.
I think as young people, we obviously need to balance what needs to be done and what we are able to do. I think that's where the expert will come in and just give us direction.
Yes, because people work so hard, like as we were saying earlier, like building brands. You want to know that you're protected. And recently in South Africa, we had an example of like a chain store that stole somebody's socks or whatever design, and it's good to know that you can go somewhere and you are protected, because you have to protect the small guys. Speed to market is a good thing, but you can imagine if people have got bigger muscles, they get to the market faster than you,
and swallow you up in the end,
and swallow you up in the process when you've worked so hard to build this brand, like we were saying earlier. Yes, so one of the things, like just to pick up on that again, so we spoke about, just to sum up, we spoke also about using the power of influencers. We spoke about social media. We also spoke about what would have been called in the past like just small focus groups, which you invite 10 to 20 people to a nice location and you have a fashion show. It does not need to be expensive.
Get the local girls involved. I think the community, we underestimate the value of community in terms of what support one can get. If you think of your models, your dressers, If you're doing your show outside of your community, you'd have to pay those people. But chances are, as a designer, as a creative person, you interact with creative people all the time. You are in touch with models. You know, you can negotiate and make your thing a success. I think we must draw on our communities more than ever before.
Also, you find that, you know, you're part of a group, a church group, a soccer club, or whatever, a running club, and, you know, the people there, that's also your target market for your brand. Let them know what you do, and maybe they don't come buy your clothes, but maybe those are your models. Maybe that's where your venue comes from. Maybe somebody else has like and that's now when the power of collaboration comes into effect. Maybe somebody has a guest house that they would like to advertise, and they know, you know, people, you're a trendsetter, you're an influencer. You probably have a lot of influence yourself. Hi, Vesani.
No, for sure. And I think as young entrepreneurs, don't be afraid to go to the church, you know. You've got most churches have 300-400 people in there. I'm not saying you're going to get them all, but, you know, just to plant the idea.
Mr. Sanyaga, hello, it's been too long.
Yeah.
A friend of ours.
So I find that a lot of people tend to be a bit embarrassed or a bit shy to actually put their label out there to not hustle people, but, you know, just to let people know that, listen, this is what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah, you've got this network around you.
Use it. Use it.
People want to go network in places where they don't know anyone. It's so much. I think it's so much easier, but I suppose you've got to expand yourself, also go out of your comfort zone, but build your skills in your local area. You would be surprised how many people maybe have similar ideas. Maybe they're thinking we need to support local designers more, and you give them the outlet, you give them the opportunity to do what they want to do.
Chances are they've seen you growing up, they've watched, you know, they know your family, and like all communities, you know, all they ever want to do in the end of the day is to support their own.
True. So like we say, there's that, and then there's the collaboration where, you know, if you're a clothing designer, you know, you team up with a head designer, jewelry designer, and you split the costs. You do a bit of cross marketing where they bring their audience, you bring your audience, and we say audience in terms of people, in terms of contacts, and you build your network, and hopefully it's not a once-off occasion. And people also like to support collective efforts. It's so much easier. People like teamwork by nature. We like a team. We like things that get along. We're the get along gang in the world. You know, in essence, we're good people, most of us.
So in a nutshell, you're saying that the young designers must be opportunistic and organized.
Yes, and definitely collaborate. That's what it's about. When opportunities come, be there, be ready. Do what you have to do. Hi, Farah. Hi, guys. So yeah, and that's what it's about. You know, you team up with other people in your area. The pie is big enough for all of you guys, and I think if your success is so much linked to somebody else, it's got a higher chance of survival than if you're at it alone.
And when you do your function, you know, sometimes things don't go well the first time out, and what we tend to do is then go back into a shell and things like that. And I think, you know, when things don't go well, it's okay, you know. Have another go.
Try again.
Have another crack.
I mean, what you might call as a failure when you do the thing
could just be the first step.
Oh, no, call it a blessing. Because you learn your lessons quicker as opposed to you going, hi, hi, Farah. Hey, Titilele, my daughter just joined in. Hi, Mazkali. So it's good to I think if you don't reach the goal or the target that you want to reach a first time out, it's not a loss. Continue, try again. It's and be grateful for the lessons. And if you're determined, you'll get it right. Really, you will.
I think that's the one. Try and try again until you get it right.
As Madiba said, don't judge me by my successes, not only by my successes, but by the number of times I fell and I picked myself up again.
Voila, there you go. All the cliches about being an entrepreneur. Those cliches never change.
Well,
sometimes they're boring.
They're
true. No, but I'm saying they're boring.
Stood the test of time.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They've stood the test of time, and they don't change. Things just don't change, no matter which way you look at it.
No, but also, you know, the more you pushed in life, that's when you realize your strength. be grateful for the challenges. It's really a case of how do you see them? How do you turn your attitude towards what you're going through, and you see it as an opportunity to stretch yourself further. Because if you were comfortable, I don't know, I think people who are comfortable or warm, they don't do much. It takes that little bit of discomfort or to be pushed, you know. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Farah. It's we have to. Farah says this is most relevant to my journey right now. We can we can relate. We are there. It's really one step at a time, and those challenges, like I say, really welcome them. Change your mind around them, and we just got to do things smarter and better as we move forward.
Because the best things in life are never easy. Success in life is never easy. Building anything in life is never easy, especially if you're coming.
She likes my dress.
Especially if you're coming from the grassroots, and especially if you're a first generation entrepreneur, which 90% of us are.
Yeah, and another exciting thing to leave you with the last positive thing is that Africa is still really like the wild west. There are just so many opportunities. I mean, people complain, we get frustrated that we wish things were more advanced, but guess what? It's all really an opportunity. It presents to us endless opportunities to go out there and design it the way we want. The other day I saw there's a Nigerian guy who's 35 running for president, and I couldn't wait to hear what this guy had to say. And guess what? Everything he said was making sense. Who could have thought, a few years ago that you're going to have a 35-year-old taking a shot? It could just win. Who knows? So it is really an exciting world. Nothing is impossible. And you just got to go out there and do your best. Be the best that you can be.
Okay. And on that note, time is up, guys. Thank you very much for joining the show. We'll be back next week at 12:30 in our usual slot. Keep it on lock. Small business needs to talk to one another so that we can create our own solutions, because the solutions will come from within us. Number 2, guys, let us be opportunistic, let us be organized, and more importantly, let us economize.
Thank you.
Harnessing the power of talk radio. brandlive.co.za